G'day folks, and welcome back to the channel for part number 19 of my Piercing Blademaster playthrough with Stabatha. Now, we're taking a quick jump back to, well, normally veteran, but I forgot to check the box, so we're in normal difficulty. However, we're not here for combat, so that doesn't really matter. I'm level 64, which means I'm close-ish to level 65. And that means we have some new gear options available to us. Now, there's a few that I'm going to recommend, but also I want to point out that if you're feeling a little squishy, you can just have a look at the Mammoth Defenders stuff. So the Defender cask here is pretty good. You get increased armor, you get 3 resistances, you get a bunch of health and physique. This is pretty good for most characters at level 65, assuming you have the physique to wear it. You can also look at Vanguard is another good option here. So if we just type in Vanguard, the shoulders here, Chaos and Aether resistance, you get some cadence skill levels, which is pretty good. That flat physical damage will be converted to piercing. Obviously, the rest of that stuff is kind of nice to have. DA and chance to avoid projectiles, not too shabby. And then the Mammoth Vanguard Cuirass, or however you say that word, does come with physical resistance as well as some stun and vitality resist, pile of health, and +2 to blindside is not bad either. Now, I'm not going to use this stuff because I'm feeling like I'm plenty tanky enough already. Level 64, I would say a minimum of 6,400, so add 2 zeros after your level, should be the minimum amount of health you have. I'm at double, or close enough to double, that I don't feel like I really need more tank. 20% phys res, it's kind of enough, and my armor rating is pretty good with standouts on my chest and legs, so I'm feeling tanky enough that I'm not going to go for these. If you feel like you need more tank, let's say you didn't get the Devil's Cage Hauberk to drop, this would be a good option. The other good option, if you wanted more damage, you could go with the Chilling Vestments here. Now, this is a lot less armor, but you do get the piercing damage percentage there. You get +2 to Knight's Chill, which will give you 2% additional resistance shredding on that. It's not 2% extra damage, but, you know, it's still pretty good extra damage. The offensive ability there also will help quite nicely. So this would be a little bit more offensive option. I've opted to just keep my Devil's Cage Hauberk. Required player level 50 is technically a stat on this, but it's not one that really matters. I'm looking at 1,000 armor. The Vanguard set here at level 65 also has 1,000 armor. Both of them have 4% physical resistance. So basically, I'm happy to keep the Devil's Cage Hauberk rather than buying the Vanguard Cuirass, or however you say that, which is probably what I would go with if I didn't have this legendary. Failing that, if I just wanted more damage, the Chilling Vestments here are also quite good. As far as shoulders go, like I said, the Vanguard Pauldrons are an option. However, I have gone and shopped myself the Coven Combatant Spaulders. These are a minor upgrade for armor over the Coven Spaulders that I'm wearing. They do come with Aether and Elemental resistance. And let me check the numbers here. Now, I've put together a Grim Tools thing so I can look at the numbers on this. The numbers I care about here, the flat piercing damage rolls between 9 and 11, so I have max roll on that. The Aether and Elemental resistance are between 20 and 30, so I've got a max roll on the Aether resistance, and I mean, we're just going to pretend that's not 1% above the minimum on the Elemental, but I'm getting more Elemental from another slot, so I'm not too worried about that at the moment. And the offensive ability, I've got like a mid roll on that. It's 27 to 39, so actually it's kind of low, but it's fine. It's fine. I've got max roll on the damage roll. I've got max roll on the resistance that I want. I'm happy with that. So I've gone with the Coven Combatant Spaulders here. And then for the helmet, I've got the Dreeg Combatant Cask, which resistances on this, this is pretty much as good as it gets. In fact, I would say this is borderline perfect. I could get an additional 1% on Aether resistance. Elemental resistance is maxed on this particular roll. The piercing damage, again, is 9 to 11, so that's the top roll. And the piercing damage percentage roll is as low as it gets, so that's not ideal, but it's also like 15% off capped anyway. And then the offensive ability only goes up to 39, so that's also quite good. So if you want to reset the stats on these, let's say you want the Vanguard queer ass, which just sounds ridiculous. Let's say you want this one. This one's got a 4% physical resistance, just like any other merchant. If you just rift away, you know what? I'm going to go kill a few things as well. You don't need to do this, but I don't want to just stand there and count to 10. Rift away, count to 10. I know I just said don't do that, but that is actually how you reset these. And now watch this still have 4%, but I know it's 3%. But you can kind of re-roll these, get a new seed on these items. So pick the 1 or 2 or maybe 3 stats that you want really good rolls on one of these, and just reset it until you get 2 or 3 either max rolls or very high rolls. So I recommend doing that. And the other option, or the other item I want to look at, you can see I've pre-made some components here, is the... Not him as well. I'll talk to Kalen here. Is the Mammoth Bladed Waistguard. So if I just type in Bladed here, like I said, I made some rigid shells. These are 10 scrap each, so don't blow all of your scrap if, for example, you know that you need to repair the bridge heading out of Act 1 and into Act 2, like I do. Make sure you have scrap for that. But I'm gonna roll a few of these. They come with 2 different resistances, some offensive ability. That OA is 1 to 3%, and both resistances are 13 to 19%. And then you may get a bonus craft from actually crafting it. So first one I roll is regen. Well, that's kind of garbage, so let's go again. Mighty is 11% physique, which is actually not bad. We did also get freeze duration, which is yeah, freeze duration is not very good, but that's all right. All right, we've got of scorched ends, so we got a fireball proc there. Not great. Fire retaliation on the stats, fire damage on the stats, and some offensive ability. I don't love it. Let's go again. Shrewd is 11% cunning. Now, this is not great. The rolls on this are okay. 11% cunning is actually a decent chunk of cunning. So I'm going to lose actually a fair bit by swapping this over. But I'm going to do it. Do I want the Mighty? I think I go with the Mighty. It's got minimum rolls, so I'm going to lose 21% Vitality Res, which means that's going to be uncapped. I'm not gaining any Vitality here. I'll be gaining some on my helmet, so that'll be alright. Okay, so basically that's garbage, and that's garbage. So I need to choose between 11% Cunning or 11% Physique. I think I go with... I mean, this has just got better rolls on it. I think I go with this one. That's fine. The other component I wanted to change is I'm ditching the Runestone. Now, I may be slightly uncapped on Aether resistance going into Act 2, but I'm pretty sure I can fix that before it becomes an issue at Homestead. We will see. We will see. What I want to do is I want to get a Prismatic Diamond. This component is pretty much standard on all of my hardcore builds because it gives you a death save or a circuit breaker, as they're more commonly known in Grim Dawn. But basically, if your health ever goes below half, you will get, for 8 seconds, you will get total damage modified by 10%, so you get a damage boost. And you get 10% total speed, so that's another damage boost, and also movement boost, depending on whether you're capped on those stats. But the important thing there is 130 damage absorption. So every source of damage is going to be reduced by 130 after all of your resistances, your armor, any kind of percentage damage absorption that you might have. This is incredibly powerful. It's fairly common for most attacks to be reduced to 0 damage. Any kind of damage over time effect you have on yourself, generally, unless it is a reflected damage attack, any damage over time will just be 0. So you can stand in things that you shouldn't be able to. Any dots from enemies will just be reduced to 0. So this is very, very powerful. Having said that, if you see this trigger, it's probably time to run away. So I do like to have it just to keep me going in hardcore. I am actually going to make some other components here as well, just so as I can have them ready to go. And because the other ones I'm going to be using are kind of cheap. So I'm going to chuck those on. And then we're going to head into Ultimate. So let's go Ultimate and let's get into it. So like I said, I do know I need to repair the bridge because I look at the quest. And let's go get some scrap. Should be 6, but it might be 10. I can never remember. I'm pretty sure it's 6. Let's take 10 anyway. Oh, apparently it doesn't. You know what? We can take 17, and I'm going to reset my camera. For anyone wondering how I did that, number pad 2 followed by number pad 3 will reset your map to be facing north as up, and also zoom you out to the maximum distance as well. It was 6. Okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to carry 11 around with me. Alright, so heading into Act 2, again, we need... that could be a problem. Alright, I'm going to do a little respec here. So, with 1 scaled hide, or is it 1 scaled hide and an ancient armor plate? I forget exactly how you do it, but Scars of Battle will give you armor absorption percentage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 point in that, which requires a respec, and then I'm going to swap my pants component out instead of a scaled hide. I'm going to put a silk swatch there, because I am more worried about piercing damage in Act 2 than I am about physical damage. What can we take a point out of? I think it has to be that one. Alright, 1 point in there. We've got 9%. It hurts a little bit, but we'll fix it. We'll fix it. What am I doing? Silk Swatch. Don't have stuff for it. I think I'm going to have to craft one. Having said that, if I could just survive for half a level. No, it's not worth it. Right, 1 resilient plating, 1 silk swatch. And now we need to go get the inventor. So 50% piercing is probably okay heading into Act 2. Probably is not something I like to rely on. So 71% is fine. I say fine with air quotes around it. You can't see it, but I'm doing the finger thing. 71% in ultimate is a little risky, but it's... and my armor rating, 90%. I don't love that either, but we've kind of compromised, I guess I'll call it, with getting... with being not great at both, rather than just having a massive hole in either physical or piercing damage, which I really don't love. Going into Act 2 with less than perfect physical, or pierce, for that matter. Okay, you can see my health is actually moving, which, yeah, it's not great. I think I'm standing on fire, though. That's obviously not ideal. Alright, and we can pick up some loot here. What do we got? The Mask of Infernal Truth, which I will not be using, and the Dread Mask of Gurgoth, which I will also not be using. I will, however, make sure to eat both of the blueprints. I think I picked that up through the window, because I'm pretty sure it was on this side. Okay, let's go and rescue Stephen Skinner. And hopefully I can get to level 65 relatively quickly, so as I can let's be a little PC here. I can I can click the wrong button and have to kill Steven Skinner instead of saving him. RIP your entire family. Okay, and I usually miss this one. Yeah, I did. That's fine. I'll eat it now and get some of that XP that I would have got for saving him and his family. Whoops. It's alright. We'll make up for it by doing this totem over here. I say that as if I wasn't going to do the totem anyway. Even if I had saved him, I would have done it. Right, let's turn the loot off so I can see what's going on, and then yell at everybody to do less damage, and down they all go. Arbogol the Shank, interesting name. And everybody's dead. Lovely. Okay. I see purple on the ground. What do we got? Void Steel Gauntlets. I'm pretty sure these dropped before. They are not bad. The armor is nice. 2 resistances is also pretty good. 17% attack speed is really good, actually. What else we got? Annihilation as a relic. It is actually quite tempting to put these on just for the armor, if nothing else. All that attack speed as well would be really, really nice. I'd be close to capped. Do I do it? What happens to my resistances, actually? Everything is now uncapped, but I am about to get a whole bunch of elemental. So maybe I think I keep these. And you know what? I'm going to put that component on them now as well. And I'm probably not going to end up using any of this, which shouldn't really surprise anyone. Definitely not using that. Although having said that, that Spirit Ward could be good. 8% Fizz, 5% maximum Vitality is godly when fighting Vitality damage enemies. And the rest of this is almost certainly not going to get used, but I will pick it up. One other thing to note is that these 3 items cost me about 500,000 iron bits to buy them, so definitely watch your iron bits if you're doing that. Although having said that, by this point, if you were playing along and you were actually looking at that sort of stuff, you've probably already bought all of that stuff, and if it was going to bankrupt you, you probably already ran out of money. So sorry about that. I should have said it earlier. Alright, everybody's coming over this way. Let's just yell at everyone. Do I still need devotion points? I do still need 7 devotion points. Daily reminder that the stone golems are terrifying and that you should absolutely be very, very careful of them if you end up finding them. For example, on the other side of this bit of water, semi-regular golems here. Obviously, I'm talking about it, so it didn't show up, but just believe me, golems there will throw rocks at you and chunk your health bar. Oh, got a hero. Let's go ahead and yell at him. Aldrich and Pald. I think I said that correctly. Alright, grab these. And everything's off cooldown. Lovely. We can pretty much just hold left click here, and everybody should die eventually. Turn that loot off just so I can see what's going on. And we need to get out of the blue. The goop on the ground there is not something I really want to mess with. None of this is looking particularly exciting. Mostly I'm looking for this, the spectral wormhole here, that kind of off dirty green color is what I'm looking for monster infrequents. And then I'm also kind of looking for boots. Mighty of the Winterstorm could actually be good. The armor upgrade there is quite nice. Bleeding res, I'm actually a decent amount over on bleeding. So I would be trading 3% physical resistance and whatever the difference between 42 physique and 6% physique is. I'm going to swap that immediately. Yep, bleeding unaffected, so these boots didn't actually give me any resistances except for the physical, obviously. Yeah, I'm very happy to make that trade. +2 to Knight's Chill there means we are getting an additional 2% piercing resistance shred, which is really, really good. Just straight upgrade across the board. Okay, let's finish the Jackal here. Some more physical resistance for me, all damage, it's kind of whatever. And that opens up the Revenant, which will be the final constellation for this build. This has the ability to summon skeletons, which doesn't sound very good, but the skeletons themselves, if you look at the bottom of the skeleton abilities, it says melee attack, blah, 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 blah. The bottom row there, 5 reduced target's resistances for 1 second. Anything the skeletons are attacking will have their resistances shredded, so this is quite a good damaging constellation for us. Also, we've got some attack speed, or attack damage converted to health, rather. Decent amount of health. There's the attack speed. I was looking at all this stuff before I started. Stun resistant. Forgot about that one. And less damage from undead is also quite good going into Act 2. So timing on this is pretty good. The downside, of course, being I'm pretty sure we're going to be halfway through the undead before I get the point required to take that. But, you know, you can't win them all. Right, let's head through here, and I really need to make sure that I don't misclick on Isaiah, because not having access to Isaiah Redden and his somewhat cheap potions would be really unfortunate. Okay, I don't really need to fight you guys. I'm just checking for Aether Crystals here, because you can never have enough of them. Although at this point, we have the Ultimate Warden's laboratory unlocked, so that is now the best place to find Aether Crystals in the game. And if I need to, I can go and farm that. So, say what you have to say to make it quick. I'm sorry, I'll be more careful, and I'll see you in Homestead, where you can sell me potions forever. Right, officially we have to report back to Mornay, but I don't even like pasta, so I'm just not going to. I'm going to pick up these quests instead. The relic on Ultimate is pretty good. It's not as good as the Blademaster's Talisman. It's also not as good as Juggernaut, so I'm definitely going to return it to them. But it is an option, and if you are one of those people who actually wants to kind of farm items on this, if it's your first character or whatever, for any other characters you might have, then go ahead and take the relic instead of giving it back, because the reward for giving it back instead of taking it is a handful, and I do mean a very small amount, of reputation, and getting the item can only be done from this quest. You can't craft it later. So if you don't have one in your stash already, I would say definitely just take it. Here we go. Royal Jellies. I am smashing all of the nests in here. You should have some from normal, but it's kind of easier to just get some extras here. Apparently this run is blessed because I have, or at least blessed, because I got 5 so far and still potentially could get a couple more. Alright, Nicholas will go down here. His stun is really annoying, so it is nice that a couple pieces of gear are about to... I really didn't want to see this. The Perdition set, whenever it's kind of current, is really good for armor. And it can be okay for resistances as well. I've got a whole bunch of gloves, so I'm unlikely to use this, but if I were to, for example, get the helmet to drop, or maybe the shoulders, then I might consider using this, because the 2-piece is 10% extra armor. Each piece is up to 5% extra armor, and they're just generally good items, even if you're not doing acid damage at all, and even if you're not doing retaliation damage at all. But I would definitely say you need at least 2 pieces to bother wearing it. And, you know, it's not best in slot by any means. They're just solid leveling items for everyone, every build ever. Okay, and I think that's 8. I think it's come from the heroes mostly, but 8 royal jellies is more than enough for the quest, so we are going to go and turn that in after I get the relic for the elder. If you're going to fight all this undead, make sure you kill the priests first. So anything that glows yellow has got to go. Also anything that glows, I guess, purple or pinky, the warlocks, they also have to die with extreme prejudice. I mean, everything has to die here, but the casters you really, really want to kill. Nothing to Shadow Strike to down there is quite unfortunate. You should also have a bunch of dynamite. I've got 12. You can go back to normal and craft them if you need to. Legionnaire's Rebuke, probably not. I didn't even see what that was. I just saw it was huge and decided it had to die. Definitely not worth the time. Okay, golems are a danger here as well. So all along this path, around this edge here, potential golems. If you see golems, make sure you get in melee range with them, or wait until they throw rocks at you and then get into melee range with them. The rocks are very, very dangerous. I know I mentioned it a few times now, but just please believe me, they are quite dangerous. Little bees, if you still don't have enough royal jellies, you can go in there and kill Ronoprax, I think is in there. I'm not going to because I have more than enough. Golem's here again. Speak of the devil. I do have my finger on evade. Looks like I didn't need it, which is nice. But I was definitely ready for it. Vengeful Wraith. Okay. I don't know if I grabbed the book to craft that, or the recipe, sorry. The recipe is from the Rovers, so I will be able to get it just up the road a little bit. But let's see if I already have it. Maybe we can talk to Pastor Boy as well. Vengeful Wraith. There we go. Beautiful. I am also going to vendor a whole bunch of this stuff just to kind of open my inventory up a little bit. And then once we get to the next level, which won't be long now, I would already have it if I had rescued Stephen Skinner instead of telling him to murder his family. But anyway, you win some, you lose some. My misclicks are notorious, at least in my head, for causing a fair few losses. I think I've misclicked him actually several times, which is kind of, I mean, it's not really funny that his entire family is dead because I misclicked, but it is kind of funny. Right, anyway, do I need any of this stuff? I don't think so. I'm going to hang on to these, but I don't think I'm going to use them. Same for all of this stuff. I don't think I'm going to use any of that. I've got all this ready to go. Pastor Boy. Let's go talk to Pastor Boy. I killed the man. Okay, there's my level. Alright. So I'm going to go and... actually, let's have a look at what happens to my resistances when I do this. They're actually pretty good. That is surprising, but also I'm very happy about it. Cunning... Yeah, we're getting cunning now. Alright. 2 more points. What did I take it out of? I think I was putting it into Deadly Momentum now. Yep, let's do that. So I'm actually not going to go and mess with any other components. I do have ring augments available as well now, but I'm not going to use them. So the poison and acid and the bleeding resistance, I could drop 2 of them on the poison, and I could drop 2 of them on bleeding as well, but I do want to drop a silk swatch. Also, I've just remembered why I have a second silk swatch instead of a scaled hide, and that means I need those 2 points back because they're going into Scars of Battle just for the moment. So we're up to 92%. I believe it's like 5 out of 8 here should be enough. I could be misremembering, but anyway. Until I have sort of 95% plus, I want some more, and I will reclaim those points later. But yeah, components are going to stay as they are. Wraith Knights Pauldrons are actually not bad. They're level 50, so they're good for level 50, but not for us. Okay, Devotion Point, let's get started. Energy Leech. Energy just became a complete non-issue. It already kind of was, but now it definitely is. Alright, we're going to skip this one as well. Hopefully I'll remember to come back and do it after I kill Cronley. For now, we're just going to leave it. And we have some quests to turn in. So, Quaid just wants to know that Pastor Boy sent us. Ava here, we will get the Royal Jelly. I banked it, because of course I did. Let's go and grab that. And I already spent the attributes, okay. While I'm here, actually, and while I'm thinking about it, give me my anti-venom salve back. And all of these other components as well. Honestly, didn't really need that back, but, you know, I'll take it. We may as well talk to Kasparov and give him the dynamite. So we can blow him up. Assassin's Mark level up is pretty good, pretty good. Okay, I'm just looking at skills that I can put some skeletons on. And I need 3 of those. I do like this helmet. You know what? The shoulders have got to be fixed. There's got to be a better pair of shoulders to go with this. Those are not bad. What about gloves? Those don't really match. What else have we got? No, too shiny. Doesn't really fit the look. There we go. Obsidian gauntlets, chains. There we go. Stabatha got the drip turned back on. There we go. Okay, so I've got my... what are they called? Royal Jellies. Now, these Royal Jelly recipes, the blueprints, they can just drop from random, like, you know, totems or treasure troves or whatever. So don't feel like you have to do these. And even though technically you are sort of losing out by not doing the elite quest here to get the other one, you will eventually get it anyway, so don't stress about it. Watching for the big overheaded slam, and I'm going to dodge that. I did dodge it once, but he didn't get a chance to do it a second time. Hanafi Mine here. I go in here because I'm dodging the pit boss, although you can just walk past them and not aggro them. The real reason I'm in here is the free dynamite. So just here, you can sometimes get some dynamite in like a pile of scrap. This one is always on the floor. And yeah, if you find a pile of scrap, you can often get 2 or maybe even 3 sometimes dynamite from this little cave, which I enjoy. Maybe enjoy is the wrong word, but I do like dynamite that I didn't have to go and craft. Okay, Hallian stuff don't really care about. The Murder of Epaulets, again, assuming I'm saying that correctly, are somewhat interesting, especially these ones. That balanced steel is giving me the Ring of Steel there, which stuns targets every 3 seconds, which is pretty good. Resistances on that are okay. Armor is better than what I'm wearing. So these are actually probably an upgrade. I think I'm going to take the flat piercing damage, or I'm going to not change, basically. Even though I think the dropped ones are technically better. Can't wear them just yet, though. 5 levels away, I'm not going to bother hanging on to them. I will, however, come over here and get the loot that's hidden in the walls here. The Black Star of Deceit. That actually sounds really cool. Bet it's useless for this build. Yep, Chaos. Having said that, okay, so the skeletons that I was just talking about from that devotion also do reduce targets' resistances, so they will not stack with this Black Star proc, but that is a pretty good proc. I'm not going to use it, but if this was just a character that I was making for myself, I probably would use it. Okay, so I'm also here for the forges. We'll blow those up. Bloody Jack is about to get stabbed in the face. There he goes. These idiots, just in the way, really. Let's be honest, none of them are a threat individually. It's just, if there's enough of them, we might be in a little bit of trouble. I'm going to spin the camera here just to show this. Hidden spoils in this little hole in the wall here. And then resetting. Of Kings is really, really, really good. Unfortunately, these don't have... I was going to say, unfortunately, they don't have much in the way of resistances, which is true. But even if they did, I probably still wouldn't use them because the legendaries I'm wearing have... they have enough permanent attack speed that I'm not interested in a temporary attack speed buff. Total speed is good, but 17% all the time is better than 10% sometimes. Having said that though, Of Kings is a pretty good suffix. Okay, got this one, should be my last forge. Got Ash down here. And he's actually fairly tanky. His friends are irritating though. Okay, if you didn't get enough forges, so you missed a couple, there is another one up here. So it's just there, you can blow that up. And then we will head on in here. I am also thinking about taking those 2 points back from Scars of Battle and putting them into Deadly Momentum again. I'm not feeling particularly squishy. A lot of the damage through here is actually not physical anyway. But, yeah, I'm definitely not lacking for damage either. Alright, Devotion. And Moneybags here. Pretty good enemy to fight. He will always drop between 1 and 3, I think it is. Dynamite. Looks like he only dropped the 1 there. But you can farm him for dynamite. Also, any scrap pile in this entire area can potentially drop you another one. So if you want to farm dynamite, this is... I would say it's the best, but it is a good place to farm dynamite. It's also good for farming dynamite here because Cronley's gang reputation is kind of hard to get your hands on. So there's that as well. I was expecting a whole bunch of ghosts here, and I don't see any. I don't know what's going on. I legitimately expected a whole bunch of ghosts here. Alright, let's go ahead and spend that point in right here. 10% less damage from undead. I had forgotten about the shrine actually, so I was expecting to get that point, get that particular node halfway through Twin Falls. So that's why I said earlier that we'd be halfway done with the undead by then. But no, got it at the perfect time. Okay, the scrap pile right here may have a dynamite for you. May have a money bags for you right here. Now, I think I left Old Maid alive back in Act 1, didn't I? Yeah, so we're going to have Durrani here. The first time you come here, he's going to want to fight you, or he's going to want to talk to you rather before he fights you. Subsequent trips through here. We're about to see a huge amount of reputation here. Subsequent trips through here, he will just be standing there ready to attack. He doesn't want to talk anymore. can also sometimes be a scrap pile there, so potentially another dynamite. And there is always a dynamite on the floor right here. So generally speaking, you can get actually a lot of dynamite coming through here. I also didn't see a totem yet. So I'm not sure where it is. Could be here. Could be kind of here-ish. Haven't seen it. I'm not going to go looking for it either. It could have been way back here at the start, sort of against this wall here. Either way, it's not here. This could be decent. Nope. Armor is horrible. Can stop looking now. Okay. I'm a little worried about that. I could go and get a potion. But I think it's probably fine. I could also maybe swap in any kind of Aether resistance gear that I may have, which, as it turns out, is nothing. Okay, that's fine. 3% is what, like 15% additional damage taken from Aether stuff. I think I'll be alright. Yeah, something like that. Go ahead and die. So generally speaking, you're not going to be able to kill him before he puts his shield up. I'm just going to wait for him to put his crystal out. There we go. Now I'm waiting on the shield to go away, and then I'm going to jump in and kill him. I do want to blitz him to shred his DA, although now that I'm thinking about it, I think those piles of sand are also doing that, and I don't want to stand in the goop too much. This Aether on the ground, every time he adds to it, you can be potentially standing in 2, 3, maybe even 4 of these. So you'll note that your health is fine, it starts moving very quickly, and then you're dead. So make sure you don't stand in that for too long. Okay, Cronley's Signets of attack is very good. Look at all that offensive ability. Low roll on the attack speed, and the Mage Storm there is giving Pierce and Vitality resistance, which I don't need. So I was kind of hoping to get an upgrade here, because that menacing Cronley's Signet I have there doesn't really give me much in the way of useful stuff. I would much rather something else with resistance on it. And of attack is quite good, but unfortunately no dice. Alright, let's grab Darius's chest here. This is basically a one-shot chest. Yep, that's definitely not great. And I don't need the Aether clusters anymore, so what I'm going to do, keep some of the crystal for yourself, will get you an Aether cluster. Destroy the lab is going to get you some crystals and some components that don't normally drop. So we're looking at, where are they? Aether Soul. I want to say there's Wrathstone. There we go. So we've got some nice stuff there. Let's go ahead and poke our head out the back and get the Twin Falls Devotion Shrine, and also what is the big purple orb thingies you can teleport to? The Rift Gate. Let's get the Rift Gate. Daily reminder that if you leave this place before getting the Rift Gate and clear your personal rift, then you get to run through the whole place again. So make sure you poke your head out and grab the Rift Gate. Because nobody wants to run through Cronley's lair again if they don't have to. Alright, grab the Rift Gate. And I am definitely taking a little bit of damage. I think those Skeleton Knights actually do a decent amount of damage. Definitely something weird going on with them. If you've built properly, it shouldn't be an issue, but they do hit harder than you might expect that they do. Noticed that on a previous build I did where I was not really... Let's say I wasn't exactly worried about my armor score. And they chunked me pretty hard. So I think I've mentioned them a couple of times in the last few playthroughs, because people were complaining about them on the Reddits and on the forums and basically saying they're not fair or whatever. And I was thinking it was because they weren't building any armor. And as it turns out, it's actually vitality resistance as well. But they weren't building defenses, and that's why they were getting chunked. But they definitely do hit hard. I saw him get healed there, didn't I? Is this guy corrupted? Is that why I'm taking heaps of health or heaps of damage? Don't know. Alright, level 66. Golemborn Greaves are very, very nice boots. Physical resistance, percentage armor, and then the Golemborn proc as well is very nice. Golemborn giving you 200 armor in every single slot is very nice, and they're up about a third of the time. So if I can use these, I think I will. The question is, can I? 52 over, 52 over. I think I can use them, actually. And that's going to fix my piercing resistance problem. So all of the problems just got fixed. Or at least improved. Cowl of the Blind Assassin. Pretty good, actually. Being a blueprint, I could go ahead and craft the entire set. Getting 5 Murderer's Cowls could be interesting. Dreadskull, I mean, that's definitely not cheap to craft that whole set, but I could. Can't wear it. Alright, the Deadwalker footpads is pet stuff. No, it's not. It's vitality stuff. Court of the Ancestor, also not great. Witching Hour is a nice gun. And we'll pick up the rest. Houndmaster's Bound Wraith is pretty good. Okay, I do want to go and fix these components, so let's go ahead and do that now. I am going to melt the boots that I just took off as well to get my add-on back, so let's go ahead and put that there and keep this item. Alright, that also means I get my... I need to put a scaled hide on my pants, and I need to shift some skill points around. Do I have a scaled hide? I do not. There we go. I'm putting points in cunning, and I'm taking skill points now out of that one. Now I've got 350 to 540 flat physical here. So not quite double, but very close. Pretty happy about that. Yep. It's my attack speed. Very close to capped, so if this prismatic diamond ever triggers, I'm going to be a veritable blender with this character. Go ahead and vendor all of this stuff. I probably should be dynamiting the purples, because I did just spend a whole bunch of scrap, so getting some more would maybe not be the worst idea. But I think I'm okay. Do I want to use that? I do like the resistances on it. Attack damage converted to health is always good. A little bit of attack speed there as well. I would lose a large chunk of poison and acid, but I would not be uncapped. I would lose 2,500 piercing damage on Ring of Steel, though. No, I think that's fine. What else do I think? I think I'm not going to use any of that. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to use this either. And since I don't give my characters hand-me-downs, I think I can sell that. This is worth hanging on to, I think, though. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and get that Devotion Shrine. Then I'm going to go turn in a whole bunch of quests. So, actually, while I'm here, I may as well do the Devil's Crossing quest since I'm here. I always forget that you don't have to do that one. Literally just spent a whole bunch of time. What is it this time? Okay, no. I'm not doing that one yet. That is the honored quest for Devil's Crossing, and it's going to send you into a death trap. It is the location where you get the +1 to Nightblade skills amulet. So if you're interested in farming one of those, you will have to go in there a few times. Otherwise, though, it's fairly scary, actually. And the benefit, if you don't want that amulet, is very small. Okay, I'm going to poke my head outside the map here. I want to get my hands on this bad boy. And that's kind of it. Alright, got a little bit of a fight coming up here for the Devotion Shrine. And I definitely want to kill any priests that may crawl their way out of the ground. And I'm going to turn the items off as well. Kind of wish I hadn't knocked these guys back. I was just trying to shred their defensive ability so I can get a few more crits. And there's a devotion point. Here's a whole bunch of priests that need to die. Now, I already know where that devotion point is, so I'm fairly comfortable running around the corner here while I put it in. Vitality resist and some stun resist. Decently over on vitality, actually. And then stun resist is... oh, I thought it'd be higher than that, I won't lie. I think I have it on one of those items I just put on as well, so I actually expected that to be higher. Priest has got to go. And I think this is a good place to stop just before I go into there. So that is going to be the end of this episode. Had a few gear upgrades, which is quite nice. Resistances are still good, but not perfect. There's some work to be done here. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this episode. So I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye for now.